Everybody, thank you, Sergio, for being the social media master and getting us back on track. Mehul, before we cut off, you were going into the breakdown. Sorry, I lost my screen here real quick. Hang on one second. Let me get it back up. There we go. So for the right framework.
Yeah. Okay. So let me just a little bit of context and background to the right framework. It's based on moral philosophy, social psychology. The website I'd like you to have a look at once we're finished this is called moraldna.org. So that's moraldna, letters D-N-A.org. I think it'd be fascinating for you to do the online profile test. No surprise that I came out as a teacher. Sergio, if I remember, came out as an angel, and our learned friend came out as a philosopher. The work is based on a guy called Professor Roger Steer, and it's based on three ethics. The ethic of obedience. So that's what are our legal rights and duties. So what does society expect from me? The ethic of care. So what's accepted as normal. How would I treat other people? And then the ethic of reason, which is what are the rational principles like wisdom or self-control that help me make a thoughtful decision about what's right or not. But it distills into the right framework, which I'll just go through very quickly again. Asking yourself the questions is A, taking this time to stop and think, but then to say, how do I do the right thing? What are the rules? Am I acting with integrity? G, who's this good for? H, who's this harm? And T, what's the truth? And I posed a moral dilemma on the Facebook chat, which is, you go to withdraw $100, £100, whatever it is, 100 shillings from an ATM, you get 200 because it's been incorrectly stacked. Rather than putting 10 notes in, they put 20 notes in. So what do? Do you return the money because you think I might get found out and get prosecuted? It's not going to be fair to the bank's owners, shareholders, what are you going to call the proprietors of the bank, or is it simply wrong? And that's why I'm going to return the money. And whatever answer you came up with, A, B, or C, comes down to what ethic is the most important one for you. So if you answered A, it's the ethic of obedience, which is our legal rights and duties. This is what I have to do. The ethic of care is for if anyone answered B, so that's what's considered right or acceptable. And then C, if anyone answered C, that I have to return it because it's simply wrong, then that's the ethic of reason because that's what's expected of me. I don't want to go into the study or the actual the scientific research behind this. What I would encourage you to do is if you come up with any situation where you're not quite sure of the answer, especially in the moment, I want you to do two things. One is to stop and take a moment to think about it, and then use that right framework to help you build an understanding of what might be the appropriate action for you to take. Are we all good with that? Are we all clear? I think I'll put it on the Facebook post for everyone, so you've got a written example, and I will also now go onto the Facebook chat and also put down the URL. So it's www.moraldna.org. There we go.
And as an adjunct, real quick to what Mehul was just saying, when you are in that dilemma of having to make a decision, please take a moment to check in with yourself and into a state that is going to serve you and provide you with the opportunity of, if you're looking for clarity, if you're looking for a solution, then you need to change your physical state and take on that identity in that moment of what you know works for you. And if you're like going, oh, but I just can't get out of my head, I can't get out of my head, then go move your body, change your physiology, change any part of the triad, you change the entire emotion and state that you're in that moment. So motion creates emotion. So turn on music, go for a walk, take a big sip of water, close your eyes for a minute. Some people go, oh, I just got to sleep on this. Great. That's a great way to change your physiology. Allow your body to shut down for a couple minutes or overnight, and then ask yourself that question. Ask it before you go to sleep, and then see what comes to you in the morning. You all know how to do this stuff. It's not magic. It's just honoring yourself enough to trust yourself And I'll take it a step further. When you don't know, you know how to ask somebody else who loves and cares about you as well. Because we all get confused. All of us. And thank goodness you do, because that spurs you to continue your growth. But give yourself the opportunity to tap into your brothers and sisters who care about you and honor you and want to see you grow and continue on your path of exploration. And so have the humility and have the faith in yourself that you don't have all the answers necessary that you need in that moment. But when you share time and energy and your intention is really truly inquisitive and not just being polite to someone else, truly inquisitive on your journey of growth, I guarantee you your cohorts are going to feel that too. And they'll honor you by standing for you as long as you're real with them. That also means you have to be real with yourself.
Sergio, should we wrap up and then open up to Q&A?
Yeah, we can do that. It's all on you guys. We had a whole bunch of people saying this is the best session of their entire life. Your guys are amazing, so it's all on you guys. How long you want to go? How many questions? Total free reign.
So look, let's look at what are the key takeaways from today. Then we go into Q&A. So literally for me, it's keep on asking yourself, what are the stories that are either holding you back or actually propelling you to where you want to go? And there's some stories, let's wave goodbye, and there's others that are part of your compelling future. Don't let go of those. Become masters at, what are the rules? What are some of the rules that set me up for non-success? And you might want to think about relaxing some of the rules that allow you to feel good. Energy-wise, it's been a tough work week. Just this call alone has got me super energized. My rules for feeling good, yeah. And for me, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. For someone else, it's 4 a.m. It's 5 a.m. For those in Australia, God bless you, Aussies. So become real masters at relaxing some of those rules that are stopping you from feeling good about yourself. And what you might want to do is you might want to flip the equation. You might want to build up and complicate the rules that allow you to feel lousy. If I see some of the Facebook posts as why doesn't anyone want to be my friend? Hit me up on Facebook. You've got tons of friends out there, virtual or real. So become masters at relaxing some of those rules, but noticing what are the rules that are holding you back. And the final bit, and Chuck will kind of build on this, is when you come across a situation where you don't quite know what the response in the moment would be, 2 things. Take a moment to stop and think, what might I do? What's the right thing here? R-I-G-H-T, and then go through that framework. And I want you, if you've been with us before, the alumni track, you know this. This is about you, and then this is about you becoming masters at helping other people as well. So I want you to become masters spotting other people's stories, other people's rules. And we do that by looking at their physiology, their focus, the words they use, and sometimes also the internal language that might be going on in their head. And then you might want to coach them using the right framework. You might even be a parent. Mum, have you thought about just taking a moment to stop and think, what are the rules? Are you acting with integrity? Who's this good for? Who's this harm? What's the truth?
Couldn't say it any better. Absolutely. Understand this, please. When we have to be our own first client, we have to be our own first, if you want to call it, relationship. And sometimes, for many of you, and even in the discussions that we've had, and we see the chats on Facebook and all the distinctions and all the interaction, your insights are freaking brilliant. I mean, oh my gosh. It's so heartwarming and eye-opening to just experience through your daily lives and just what you share and post, all these amazing things that are happening. And they don't have to be mammoth breakthrough distinctions. It's just like, whoa, I shifted 2 millimeters today. Wow, the clarity. It was unfreaking believable. That's brilliant. See these things in yourself too. They don't have to be on everybody else. and acknowledge what's shifting in you. Because if you don't honor all your achievements, you go, oh, but that was easy. Really? Not for everybody. It might have been for you, but that's freaking brilliant. That's a gift that you have. But if there's other areas that you're looking to be able to not even master, but I'll just say to sample. I love this term, and I don't even know where I heard this from, I mean, years ago, but I had a very dear friend, actually I do now, it's coming back to me, it was in college. He goes, man, sample life. Just sample life. He said it's like getting, for any of you that like chocolate, I'm sure none of you just can't stand it, but if you get this assortment of just freaking amazing chocolates, and I'm talking Swiss chocolate, let's get real here for all the Europeans that are on this call. If you get really real chocolate, and you're like, oh my gosh, and it was fresh made by masters, and you'll go, but there's a whole assortment. Well, are you going to like every piece of chocolate that you try? Probably not. But boy, when you find the ones, you're going, I didn't think I'd like that, but that was amazing. It had cayenne pepper in it. And it was freaking spicy and hot and sweet, and I'm having a moment here. I'm perspiring like crazy, but my palate's on fire, and I'm loving this. It was savory. Ooh, that's a new word. How many of you get to say that was a savory moment in your life? If you provide yourself the opportunity of having the bravery and confidence to just flow, you're going to provide yourself with a myriad of new experiences that will no longer hold you back. And you can decide whether or not you want to try it for a second time or a third time, but if you didn't even try it the first time because you had fear, and the fear wasn't here, it was here, then you just done yourself a huge disservice. All opportunity, all achievement, all growth is on the other side of fear. All of it. Because anything that comes to you easily, you're living in your gifts, and that's amazing, but you're not challenging yourself, and you will quickly get bored. Because it's going to be coming about a destination or an outcome, and it's not going to be about the journey. What do you want to experience along the way? Something to think about. Or as I've said before, maybe even feel about. Any questions? I mean, Mehul, anything else on your side, brother, that you feel compelled to share? Or?
I think it would be remiss of us not to apply some of the things we're talking about today, the stories and the rules, and the right framework. Think of, we've either you went to bed reading about what's happened in Paris, and let's not forget Beirut, or you woke up to it. Whose stories have these people bought into? Theirs or someone else's, or a movement's? Whose rules have they made their own to, on a scale of 1 to 100, level 120, that forces us to go into a city? I mean, literally, for some of them who might have been, seeing my Facebook post last week, I was there literally a week ago. I took my brother last Friday and Saturday to Paris for his big birthday, for his 30th. We had a phenomenal night. We do this, the boys do it once or twice a year. And to think of a city that is so beautiful in so many ways, to have suffered the atrocities that it has, and not for the first time this year either. Think about some of those stories. Whose rules are they? Whose stories are they? Did these people ever stop to think what's the right thing to do?
And here's a scary thought about this whole thing. Those people who took that action may have felt very, very, very compelled and felt in their own heart that they were doing the right thing. It's a strange and varied world. And so no, our actions have repercussions. Actions have reactions. And did they not send a message globally to the planet about what's going on or what their agenda or what their outcomes are? Everyone was put on notice. I woke up to that this morning. I had no idea that had happened until I actually got up at 3 a.m. this morning here and flipped on the TV. And it was like, whoa, what? I mean, literally. I got on the phone, was talking to my wife about it this morning, my son, You know, I'm sure he's going to be inquisitive about it, so I'll be having conversations with him. You know, it's so easy to judge. It's so easy to go ahead and impart our meaning on what has transpired. And everyone on both sides of the situation has hopefully questions and maybe clarity on their side, but many, many, many questions. So all we can do is, from our perspective, is put out love and understanding, because in judgment, the world doesn't get better. It just doesn't. All it does is create a much larger rift and a divide. And regardless of how terrible someone feels about what's transpired, there's someone on the other side going, but you don't know what we've lived through. You don't know what we're going through. And they're right. I can't even understand or appreciate where they're at right now. And again, I'm a human being. And it's not passing judgment. I'm literally not seeing it worse than it is. I'm not seeing it better than it is. I'm seeing it for what it is. And right now, I'm confused. So
we've already been pretty much going an hour 15. You guys are amazing to take so much time, and we have a whole bunch of questions lined up.
I'm up. Mehul, you up?
I'm up for it, and you know what? We don't want to finish on a down note, so let's answer those questions. Let's just make sure that everyone has either the best end to a Saturday or the best start to a Saturday. Let's do it.
This is the best start to a Saturday a lot of people have had in a long time, so thank you guys for that. The first question comes from someone who's actually not even been to GYLS, which is amazing. It's the first question from a friend of someone. So cool. Kayla Walker, who was actually a youth leader several years back, got one of her friends to come on. So that's the impact you guys have had. From several years ago, she got her friend on here. And so just as a pre-frame, she hasn't been to GYLS. She doesn't know what the triad or anything is. So her name's Rachel, and the question is, how do I provide the energy and positivity I need to get throughout the day? Because this past month I've had no motivation or energy.
So her name's Rachel?
Yeah.
So a really big question, Rachel, is what lights you up? What, like, when you engage in this, what just absolutely just melts your heart, fills you up? It's like there's nothing else like it. And I know when you ask yourself this question intellectually, you may even say nothing. I'm just not juiced right now. I'm not feeling it. I'm not motivated. Okay. Can you remember any time in your life when you absolutely just felt so completely fulfilled? Any time. And it could have been when you were a little baby. It could have been even before you actually open your eyes outside the womb. The truth is that we all have options and opportunity of making ourselves feel unbelievably great. You may have times with your friends where you're just like, man, I'm so connected to these people, and we have such a wonderful time because they get me. They know me. That's awesome. Revel in those people and keep them close. But if you find yourself, too, that you're in associations around people who they may not be growing at the same level, or they may not be as inquisitive you are, and just say, I'll speak on behalf of all of us, thank you for coming on here and being inquisitive. That's beautiful. And thank you for having a friend who is so motivated to supporting you and loving you and providing outcomes. Because that friend you want to stay really close to. So it was Kayla Walker, you said, Sergio?
Yep.
Kayla, God bless you, honey. This was a big question for me, as I had mentioned to you before, because if I didn't feel worthy, how could I even be happy? How could I even hope to have any kind of measure of value? And what it really came down to was one thing, and that was faith. I had the benefit of having a mom who was raised Buddhist and a dad who was raised Roman Catholic. And irregardless of someone's religion, or I'll just say belief in something greater, you were put here for a purpose. You are a gift. And your right as a human being is to be able to have fulfillment and happiness in abundance anytime you desire it in your life. You go, yeah, but how do I make that happen? By honoring yourself and being the best you possibly can be. That doesn't mean that you have to aspire to be as skinny as a beanpole in a magazine. It doesn't mean that you have to be able to dance better than the best dancer on Dancing with the Stars or sing like an angel. It means that when a song comes on and you feel you want to move your body and sing at the top of your lungs, and with no disrespect to Tony, I've seen Tony move and I've heard Tony sing, and anyone who's ever been to a live event knows exactly what I'm talking about. And that doesn't stop him in front of 9,600 people at a UPW in LA. He's in it. And that's because he loves and honors himself, and he is so into that energy and having that fun in that time. This means that if there are other groups that you can get into as well, if there's church groups, if there's organizations at school, things that interest you, that light you up. But here's a little insight. You're going to have to get outside of your comfort zone. You're going to have to step outside of what's been comfortable and what's appeased you for so many years and honor yourself by giving yourself the opportunity to try something different. That's scary. That's a little frightening. I didn't say you had to do it by yourself, but boy, it could be really interesting to see what happens when you find that fortitude. Because here's a question you can ask yourself. What if it doesn't work out? What if I don't like it? Then try something else. How unique is that? There's not one way to be happy, honey, and there's not one way to get motivation. So I'm going to give you one tidbit and something that I do every morning. And if you try this one thing, I will promise you this. You will start to have different clarity about what's important to you. The first 5 minutes of every morning, as soon as my feet hit the floor, the first 5 minutes is all gratitude. And I say, thank you, universe, for giving me another day above ground. Thank you for allowing me to draw breath. Thank you for my amazing and drop-dead gorgeous wife, my 3 beautiful children, for my health and vitality. I pray this very moment right now for better challenges this day so that I have an opportunity to step up and be a better man. And that's the first 5 minutes of every morning for me. Because in that space, that attitude of gratitude, my whole day is different. My whole life changes. Because everything I look at is from that standpoint of I am here with a purpose. And I'm not saying that that has to be what's absolute for you. I'm just saying that if you take and change one tweak, a millimeter shift, a day, a month, a year, wow, can't even see my hands anymore. 2 years, 5 years, you can change your entire life. But ordinary things done consistently will produce extraordinary results. Mehul, I see you chomping.
I'm not sure if I'm still on because I can't see myself. So
you're on.
You are. We can see you and hear you. You're good.
So Rachel, I had a question for you. When was the last time you gave yourself a hug? I'm sure that you'll go to Kayla's house and you'll give her a hug. When was the last time you actually reached out and gave yourself a hug? And I've got a little piece of what I call home plate for you. A song by Michael Jackson called Man in the Mirror. And I'm going to blast that out loud at the end of this call, and I just want you to let everything else go. Hear those words, dance in the mirror, and just, feel free to tweak the words to the girl in the mirror. But give yourself that gift. If you take nothing away from this call, take away this, and Chuck mentioned it, the start of every day and at the end of every day. Be thankful for what we have rather than what we don't have. I'm so grateful to have this opportunity. I'm so grateful to people like Chuck, to Sergio, put this on. So grateful for the wisdom that we have on this call. I'm blessed to be speaking, but when I see comments from Rachel, from Dev, from Pepper, I'm going to borrow you as my sister as well. So when I see those comments, what a blessing this life is. And I know at the end of this call, I get a good jump in my car and go and see my 4-year-old twins play at a birthday party, and their dad is the craziest guy in soft play. Have no doubt about
that. All right, let's see if we have some more questions. We have a comment from someone who messaged Dev, and I think it's Dylan. I wish I could join. I'm driving to a lacrosse game and I get really nervous before games, so I'm meditating and listening to an audiobook. Please give my best regards to Mehul and Chuck. I love you guys so much. I hope you make some amazing breakthroughs.
And we hope you win your game.
Absolutely.
And then Rachel, Kayla's friend, said, I'm crying. This is awesome.
Happiness is yours, honey. Happiness is yours. Like Mehul said, play man in the mirror, but allow yourself to be vulnerable to yourself. Turn some music on, lock yourself in your room, and just dance your ass off. Just seriously, close your eyes, let the music move you. Whatever you like to jam to, whatever motivates you, whatever words resonate for you, give yourself that gift just to immerse yourself in a moment where there's no judgment, there's nothing else going on around you. You're just connected to the music. Feel the beat, feel the bass line, feel the treble. Crank it up. Let your parents know nothing's wrong. You're just having a jam session, and because it's so interesting that all the stuff that when we were little kids, and I still love that now. If we turn music on in our house, I guarantee you there are 3 butts at minimum shaking in that household. Minimum. Because for any of you that know me, my butt's shaking too. So that's just a game on. But just give yourself that gift. And quit being so hard on yourself. You're freaking amazing. And again, so honored and blessed. I mean, just to be here with you all, to be with these 2 gentlemen and all of you. I mean, the comments are freaking remarkable. The observations, the distinctions. But, Rachel, for you, it really hasn't even been in the environment, just know that you are loved and you're cared for. And thank you for being so open-hearted and open-minded to research this stuff and to grow. And please stay in contact. I mean, you're part of a family now. See, it's not about going to an event. Ironically, it's not. It's about you tapping in and being plugged in. You can't go back now. You already committed.
But we're not going to let you either.
Sorry, that's the way it works. We own you. You're ours.
Alright, so I think Kimberly had a question, but she hasn't posted it yet. She just asked if we're asking questions here. For you guys watching, any final questions, now's the time. I think the first video is already uploaded, actually, which is crazy because this got cut into 2 parts, and we basically almost run 2 sessions. You guys added so much value. It's unbelievable.
Thank you for arranging this, Sergio. It's been absolutely just an honor, an absolute honor.
This session's had the most comments ever. We're at 76, I think, which is
wow,
nuts. Let me see if I can see some questions. You guys should read through this because there's a ton of just comments for you guys. Yeah, none as of right now. If I find one, I'll let you guys know, so keep it rolling.
So Sergio, can I just reiterate my offer? So we are going to pick from random, at random, 12 people who are on this call live, and we will drop a note to the 12 of you. I have 12 copies of the Ethicability book, so the book from where I drew the right framework from, and we'll reach out to you. We'll get your postal address, and I will post 12 copies of that book to your home address.
That's awesome. And keep in mind, everyone, too, not that I want to open up Pandora's box, but we're on Facebook. I mean, Mehul's on there, I'm on there, Sergio's on there. And so don't think that if you have some distinctions after this conversation today, after this interaction that we've all had, please reach out. And there's nothing taboo. We want to make sure that we're honoring you. And again, the one bit of permission that I will ask is we're going to keep it raw and real, and that's really important because we don't want to do you a disservice by not being genuine with you and by sugarcoating anything. We want you to get the clarity, and if the responses that you receive still aren't clear enough, then we will reframe it in a different way until we can help assist you in finding the answers that you're looking for. So that is an honor and a commitment that we've both, over the years committed to with people, and it's not one of those things. And please, if you fall back on your old story of, oh, but you're busy and you have your families, yes, and you're important as well. So honor yourselves by reaching out and taking action, because if it's just a thought in your mind and you don't plan it and you don't execute it, you're devaluing yourself. You're actually defacing yourself. Take action. Take action. Any action. If you move a millimeter in the right direction towards something that you're trying to achieve or experience, God bless you. That is beautiful, because that's how you gain momentum. And again, that's what these sessions are all about, is gaining momentum, supporting you as you are continuing on your adventure.
I completely echo that. I think for those of you who have been with us as alumni, those of us who know us from previous years, Chuck and I don't show up at GYLS to be with you for 5 days. We say this is a commitment to you for the next year, for the next 2 years. Kayla, I haven't spoken to for probably a couple of years, but she knows if she picks up the phone, she drops me a note, I will call her back within 24 hours.
And just to add, actually, Kayla's friend said, I'm coming every single Saturday, and she wants to come, so we've got a new member to GYLS.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Rachel.
My newest friend on Facebook.
All right, I think that's it. All of the comments are now thank you. I love you guys, so you guys should all go read those. There's a whole bunch of them from Rachel Bell, Kayla, Dev, Kimberly. So I think we're going to wrap it up. So any last final words for you guys?
You know what? Thank you for taking time out of your weekend to contribute and share, and for listening to the rantings of two crazy guys. But for me, and I know for Mehul too, because we've had great conversations about this over the last several years in particular. But you are our future, and actually, you are the world. You are the representation, the ambassadors for what gets to happen in life. I'm so blessed that my son has all of you as peer group, and as friends, and as cohorts, and like-hearted people that he gets to share time and energy and interaction with. It's so flattering. And beyond that, this is why this is part of our mission in life. This is actually one of the blessings that we get to have, and that is we were put here for a purpose, and it wasn't just to make money. It wasn't just to exude influence on others. It was actually to be a sounding board, to be able to just share information. And Sergio, words can't even express how I feel about you and your family, and all the wonderful things that you all do. Your commitment to this group has just been unparalleled. There are people who say they'll do things, and then there's people who actually show up and deliver consistently. And that's you in spades, my friend. You're a beautiful man. You're a beautiful man, and thank you for taking the time and organizing all of this, because we know it's no small effort. I mean, to get a couple people on a call is one thing. To get a whole collective like this, but it's also a testament to your leadership, and also a testament to everyone who's on this call today, on this video cast, as to how committed they are to moving forward and growing. So God bless you, and thank you all for your time today.
Thank you, Chuck. Actually, while you were saying that, we got a whole bunch of questions. We've got 2 right now, so yeah, I know Mehul's been seeing them. So Huang actually has a question, my brother.
Cool.
You are absolute legends. Quickly, how do you attach an empowering meaning to a new action you want to take that isn't the most attractive to you?
So I'm sorry, repeat that one more time?
So the question is, how do you attach an empowering meaning to a new action you want to take that isn't the most attractive?
So, if you don't mind, Mehul, I'm just going to ask a question real quick. What is it that's not attractive about the action that needs to be taken?
Okay, so while Huang thinks of that, Kimberly's got a question, sorry for the length in advance. So lately I've become very insecure with my intelligence and self-worth due to college applications and grades. I'm surrounded by people who are amazingly intelligent, and it causes me to compare myself to them. I try to be a lot more positive and focus on my self-worth and remember the attitude and mindset I had during GYLS, but I feel that the negative thoughts overpower my mind, and all I can do is tell myself that I'm not good enough. I guess my question is, what can I do when my mind is in a very negative state to change my mental state?
Can I take this?
Please.
Kimberly, firstly, thank you for trusting us with a question like this. Thank you for trusting the rest of the group with something like this. There are 2 or 3 simple things that I would encourage you to do every day. Tony talks about the power of rituals. Whatever time you get up in the morning, allow yourself an extra 20 minutes, half an hour, to do something in the outdoors, to get out, to move, to set your day up for success. In that moment, I want you to give thanks for everything you have, and not focus on what you don't have. A lesson my father told me when I was 6 or 7 years old, when I was going through a tough time at school, and the reason I was giving myself a hard time was because I only came second in class. There will always be someone better off than you, better than you, bigger than you, stronger than you. But there'll always be people worse off. I don't know where you live in terms of the world, but you weren't in Paris last night. Let's all be grateful for that. And there's something that Tony sort of refers to called incantations. Even if you just spend 5 minutes, and if you're feeling insecure that you can't go out on a run and shout out, I am beautiful, or play One Direction, you don't know you're beautiful, any incantation. If you've been with us at GYLS, you know, I am the voice, step up. I will create, not destroy. All of those things, if you can just spend 15, 20 minutes a day in the morning to set yourself up for success, that is such an empowering way to start off your day. And I guarantee that the language and words you use that I'm reading here on this Facebook post will take a completely different meaning to you once you've done those. If you read your words again, those are quite powerful, emotive words. Look at the language you're using here. The negative thoughts overpower my mind. Who controls your mind? If you're saying I do, is the right answer. All I can do is tell myself I'm not good enough. You know that's bullshit. And in this case, BS does stand for bullshit. Put yourself in that space. Surround yourselves with people who empower you. And if you haven't found a person who is going to be your accountability buddy or someone like that, you know what? Rachel Baird is available. Our newest group member.
You know, it's amazing because all too many times, again, as we've discussed, we've conditioned ourselves to be so harsh with ourselves. And the language that you're using is so judgmental. And feeling your spirit, and thank you for being so vulnerable and honest in your question, I would imagine that very rarely do you pass judgment on other people anywhere near as harshly as how you're judging yourself right now. One of the things that you can do is forgive yourself. Seriously, look at yourself square in the mirror, look at yourself, get up and close and personal, and look right in the pupils of your eyes, and forgive yourself for being so hard on yourself. Take a moment. The second thing that you can do is understand this. Please, please take this in. Your gifts may not be all academic. And if you were to talk to your closest friends, you are a very bright, intelligent woman, But you may have so many distinctions when it comes to human behavior. You may have so many distinctions when it comes to being just an unbelievable friend or a sibling or a daughter or a granddaughter or someone who's artistic and creative. Just because you don't score high on an SAT relative to mathematics doesn't mean that you're not unbelievably gifted in writing or other areas of your life as well. It just means that if there's areas that you need some assistance in, then how resourceful are you willing to be able to reach out to others? And if they need help in an area of their life, and I'm not saying barter, I'm saying collaborate, have the humility to ask someone else and say, oh gosh, would you mind terribly? It seems like, you know, you just get math so easily. Would you mind sitting down with me and reviewing a couple things? Be an active participant in your own salvation. And when you start to go, whoa, no one's ever shown it to me that way before. Wow, that's a neat perspective. Hey, guess what? 2 millimeter shift. And that's all you're looking for. It doesn't have to be an epiphany where it's a 180-degree movement. It just has to be a shift. Just a shift. You know, and I'm going to dovetail this back to Juan just for a second too, because here's the whole deal. Sometimes we have to do things in life that we're not necessarily comfortable in doing. But what we need to do, and this is applicable in both environments, we need to create an understanding for ourselves that we are going to do the best in the moment that we can with all the resources that we have available to us. And if there's something that we don't like doing, ask ourselves, why? There's a reason. And if it feels wrong, not you think it's wrong, it feels wrong, then you need to question it because it may not be serving you. And just because someone else has been able to attain an outcome relative to that doesn't mean that's the approach that you need to take. If I want to get better cardio, I don't have to go run 20 miles because if my knees are hurting, I can bicycle. I can rollerblade. I can ice skate. And if that bothers me, I can do other things. I can do push-ups. I can do pull-ups. There's a myriad of different ways to serve yourself. But if you have a rule that says, I only get this when I do this, you're done. Because you haven't given yourself any possibility to interweave any other options and give yourself that flexibility. If all I have is this and that connection's broken, wow. You're like, oh, failure. Oh, yeah. Screwed up again. Told you, not worth it. Don't have the talent. Man, just another mess up on my part. No. Oh, this one didn't work. Great. Look at everything that's still working. Oh, but I don't really enjoy this one that much. That's okay, because I can add something else. It's not about taking on more stuff. I know we've said this a couple times, but I'm going to put this out there. You don't need to add more things to you. Sometimes it's what you remember to forget that's going to give you all the freaking freedom that you want in life. Because you've taken on more things in your world than people could even hope to appreciate. But you know what they are, and you're like going, oh yeah, but the pressure, and college applications, and oh, but man, I got to do this thing, and I really don't like doing it. Okay, what's the outcome, and are there other ways to get to that outcome? Or is there only one way? Because someone who's very successful said, that's the only way I'm going to be able to get to where I want to go. I don't know. The world's a very varied place.
Yep, so Huang actually clarified his question just to reread his first question. How do you attach an empowering meaning to a new action you want to take that isn't the most attractive to you? And then he clarified by saying, for my book, I find that doing things such as formatting it, researching copyright, and all the busy work I need to do, I get unmotivated to do it because it's not something that I love doing, such as being creative.
You know, there's people
commented outsource under there.
There's people in this world that love doing that stuff. They love it. They thrive on it. Oh yeah, copyright research, give it. Yeah, I'm all in. You're like, oh, okay, it's all yours. Please. If it doesn't fulfill you, then maybe you need to take a step back and go, am I really living in my gifts in that moment? And if I reach out to a group of people, ghostwriters, independent publishing houses, places like that, that have the ability of being able to facilitate that for nominal, if not low cost, or you go on and Google it, or you go ahead and talk to other people who have recently self-published books and things of that nature, I invariably guarantee you they'll share, because they may not enjoy those things either. So be willing to have the humility and go, oh, but I need to know all facets of, you know, the industry. Really? I don't need to know electricity to flip a light switch. Yet I do it every single day, and miraculously the lights go on in my house. But do I need to be an electrical engineer and know how to run conduit and know how to change out a transformer or a capacitor or how electricity is even generated in order to be able to facilitate and use it? No. So some things are best being farmed out. It doesn't mean that you're not in control. It doesn't mean that you're not, I'll say, committed to the message or the outcome. But if it's a matter of make a pro and con list and go, everything that I can achieve or experience by going through this exercise on my own, or, wow, if I actually delegate this to someone else, how much freedom could I have, and what other things could I be concentrating on that move me towards my outcomes? Just a question. Mehul, what do you think, buddy?
I couldn't have put it better myself. You know, I work for a global consulting firm, and the only reason I do public sector work, and I do specific type of public sector work, is that's what fuels me. And I know there are parts of projects that are not my strengths. And for the most part, I get other people to do that kind of type of work. Not everything that we end up doing is going to be stuff that fuels us, that produces us, but we also know that there's going to be that 10% where you have to become good at. You know, for example, you know, I'm a consultant. I have to become a good project manager. I don't like doing Excel spreadsheets that go beyond kind of 50 rows, but that's 10% of my work. But if I focus just on that 10%, I'm missing out on the fact that at the moment I'm part of a project that could revolutionise the way the policing service works in England and Wales. Never lose sight of what that big picture is. Some of the small stuff that needs to happen in the sidelines is just stuff we have to do. As long as it's not taking up more than 20–30% of your time. And by the way, you know, we're going to do a book swap here, Juan. Just be clear on that.
You're more resourceful than you're giving yourself credit for, and if you're feeling frustration in that area, it's because it's not that you don't understand, it's just that you don't feel empowered in that particular space. And if it's becoming more of a challenge and consuming more of your time, and it's not allowing you to move towards your outcomes, because know you very well, my friend, then be able to take a step back and reevaluate the situation in that moment and say, okay, is it that I have to attach a new meaning and to give it even more value, or is it that I've been like overphrasing this and making it more imperative than it needs to be because I have an outcome of having this book turned out by X date? And if that's the case, then you need to make a value judgment from a business standpoint as well and go, it's going to cost me X amount of dollars to facilitate this outcome. Is that worth my time? Very well could be. So hope that helps a little bit.
Yeah, that definitely helps a ton. I think we have one final question from Nick Marino, and it's like a paragraph long. If we take this question, we'll break the record for the longest session.
Bring it on.
All right. So it's kind of like a story. There's this idea that has troubled me for some time now. Nice pre-frame, Nick. It's two conflicting ideas. One is living in the present, this idea of being in the current moment, and life is just a series of right nows. The second idea is motivation and drive and never give up. I heard this metaphor from a wise man before, and it was a student asked his master how long it would take him to become the very best. The master told the student it would take him 10 years. The student then asked the master, okay, what if I work twice? I will train 23 hours a day. I'll work as hard as I possibly can. How long will it take me to master then? The master looked at the student and said, then it will take you 20 years. So I want to know your thoughts on this metaphor, the idea of being present in the current moment and the idea of striving to be your best and working as hard as you can, doing your very best. And then he just added an extra little thing, because in my life I've had moments where I've put in hours of blood, sweat, and tears in my craft, and then I fail at achieving my result. Because I see other people who complain and don't work as hard, and yet they achieve the result that I want to achieve, such as getting casted in a play. Who's going to take that one?
Yeah, I'll just say it very simply stated. Be grateful for the lessons. Be grateful for the tempering. When I was a very little boy, I had the benefit of seeing some amazing, amazing, beautiful pieces of art that are actually a Japanese katana, and that's a Japanese sword. And these swords, when you look at their metal, and they have a ceramic edge, which is just unbelievable. It's razor blade sharp, but that metal is folded in some instances over 400 and 500 times. That literally means that they flatten out the metal completely, fold it over itself, flatten it out again, fold it over itself, flatten it out again, fold it over itself, flatten it out again. I can continue on 400 times if that would help create the picture. But it's arduous, very strenuous work. You're under a lot of intense heat and pressure. But when you look at the end result, not only is it an unbelievable masterpiece as far as artistry is concerned, but the functionalism and tensile strength of that is beyond reproach. It'll cut other metal. It'll cut another sword in half. And people go, how can that be? Because it was tempered by fire. The outcomes that you're trying to achieve, Nick, aren't a result of all your hard work. It's a result of your commitment and your unwavering outcomes towards growing as an artist and having experiences. You will have an appreciation at a much higher level than other people who have had continued yeses. And you'll go, but how can that be? Well, I'll tell you, my friend, you're the only one that's ever experienced this. Having someone else who has like had a deal close like instantaneously and they did nothing, they didn't lift a finger. Others who have toiled and struggled and had a deal close, and they are so grateful. And they know the value of hard work. They know that along the way that they learned unbelievable lessons. It's only the meaning that you attach to it. And it may seem arduous that you're going out and going after all these plays, and you've had achievements. I've seen you post them on Facebook where you've gone out and you're like, oh, I got a second callback, a third callback. What if you were the guy that didn't get a callback at all? Oh, damn. Snap. That's no good. Well, I don't know. That other guy might be going, I didn't get a callback today, but the next one, I own that sucker. It's mine. Carpe diem. You need to seize the day. You need to seize the opportunity. You need to seize the experience and be appreciative. Because, dude, you are one of the most charismatic young men I've ever met in my entire life. Your energy is infectious. Your smile, the way you show up, the heart integrity that you have. Just because you might not be the flavor of the day for someone who's casting a part where it's actually make-believe, that's not a judgment on you at all. It's not as though you're dealing in a situation where you're responsible for what someone else's meaning is to the performance that was given. Because if you could think for one moment that Tom Hanks, Harrison Ford, anyone who's a top A-lister actor, Anthony Hopkins, do you think that they ever were turned down for a role? You hear about this all the time. They go, oh, the new artist, Jennifer Lawrence. Why? Because someone else turned down the part. Well, what? They did what? They actually turned down that freaking part? Wow. Interesting. Whoa, were they the brightest bulb in the room? Hey, they had other stuff going on. And they had other experiences that they were trying to achieve as well. Stop being so hard on yourself. You're an artist. You chose a craft. Hear me. You chose a craft. If it was the science of success, and my brother just said it, there'd be a formula. If you wanted to be a great investor, if you were a fly on the wall in Warren Buffett's office, and you had the ability of just seeing when he made a trade, and you bought when he bought, and he sold when he sold, you'd probably make some money. Would you know any more? Not necessarily. Would you be fulfilled? No, because there's an art to fulfillment. There's a science to success. And the two aren't mutually exclusive, but if you're using one process, you're going, I'm doing all the work, I'm checking all the boxes. I did the work, I've done dramatic, I've done, Shakespearean, that's great. You may have done improv too. Do you think any comedian that's ever been on an improv stage has ever been laughed off a stage or not made someone laugh? Or as they say in the business, bombed? Another experience. That just means that that joke in that environment at that time didn't work. You're amazing, dude. And the bottom line is this. Continue to be you, and people are going to fall in love with you. Just don't lose sight of who you are and what's most imperative to you in life. What's a must for you. Because in the world of make-believe, and I have family members that are actually professional actors, they've been on Broadway, they do commercials, they do voiceover work, freaking brilliant people. Brilliant people. And they've been turned down for roles. You only need one yes. One.
Let me just add a couple of things. Nick, I know you've been with me in terms of goal setting. Get these things written down, whatever it is. Get it written down, associated with it. Look at it. I'm almost certain you look at it daily. Look at it twice a day. But one thing I also say when we go through that goal setting session is it's not about the goal. It's about the person you become.
That's right.
And achieving that goal, and sometimes not achieving it. Within the GYLS environment, if I think of a role model in terms of physical health, and someone who has taken himself from being someone who the first time I met you, a small thin guy, to where you are now, you're a role model, and I'm probably twice your age. So don't underestimate the power of your story on others, because we've seen the person who's gone from being a boy to being a man, and that right role will come. If you'll know the story, and I'll use a photo as an example, but I'm a persistent bugger. 4.5 years to attract this young lady into my life. Now there's a bit of reflection, so I'm going to kind of just zoom in here. But she said no to me in May 2004, but I hung around because A, I'm pretty persistent and tenacious, but B, I knew what I wanted. Yeah, I know we're going to read about you. I know we're going to see your name on Broadway, wherever it might be, but that's not the thing that's going to change our vision and our view of who Nick Marino is. It's the guy you've already become along your journey, and you continue to become.
Nick, there's actually, and I'll stop after this. There's a gentleman by the name of Sylvester Stallone, and I just read an article on my flight here to Hawaii, and he was talking about how a lot of people think he's over the hill at 69, and he is no longer been asked back to do the Expendables movies, which he wrote the majority of those, and now he's doing a new movie called Creed, where he plays Sylvester, he plays Rocky again, but he's basically playing the part that Mick had played, the trainer. And the point in being is that we all go through different stages of our life, but it all started off with the same thing. Sylvester Stallone held out. He wrote the screenplay for Rocky, and he held out because they had another actor who was slated to go ahead. Ryan O'Neal was supposed to play Rocky. Ryan O'Neal, he held out. He was a starving artist, didn't have a penny to his name, and he held out till he got the starring role in his own screenplay. What are you willing to do to get to your outcomes? How bad do you want it? Because in life, if we think we're not going to hear no's along the way, I'm sorry, my friend, I'll apologize to you right now. That's not reality. It's not how many times you get knocked down, it's how many times you get back up. And you're a strong freaking dude, man. And I'm telling you, you have the heart of a lion. Stay committed to your outcomes. You're going to do unbelievable. And trust in yourself. I know it gets rough sometimes. We all get pushed back. That's where you have the love of family and friends. All right, my friend?
So for me, it's 11:58, which means for you, it's like 6:58.
6:58.
And like, I don't know, 4:58 or something, almost 5 p.m. for you. It's probably almost 4 in the morning for Australia right now, which is just crazy.
The kids are back from their party.
Yeah. Oh, are they?
Anyone up for meeting my two little bundles of joy?
Bring them in, man.
And zero in. They want to say hello to you. All the other children are.
So I think this is basically the longest session. The only person who's broken 2 hours is Omid last year.
Yeah, I'm ready for you.
Well, hopefully it's added value and it's been interesting for everyone. Oh, look at these two.
Aw. Hi, guys.
Say hello. Say hello.
We're well. How are you?
Hi to the whole world.
There's children. There's people from Australia. There's people from America. There's people from everywhere. There's someone from India as well.
Daddy, why is that man changing?
Why is he changing?
That chair?
That's Uncle Chuck.
No, who's this chair?
Oh, that's your chair.
Yeah. Why is he changing then
Okay.
to man?
Say hello and say we're gonna meet you soon.
We're gonna meet you soon.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna say bye bye. I'm gonna come down in a minute.
Daddy's he's changing into man.
He's changing his man. Okay. I'll come down in 2 minutes. You save me some chocolate.
Daddy, we'll save you one chocolate.
Daddy gets one chocolate.
Yeah, that's what the dad gets.
Yeah, you get one, Daddy. Everyone
Huang just posted we need a 3-day Chuck and Mehul retreat in Hawaii.
Oh, hey. I'm in. Hey, thank you, everyone. Again, so appreciative for the time. We've been wanting to do this for quite some time, and all I can say is I love these two guys. I mean, from the center of my heart, Mehul and Sergio, my brothers, and couldn't be more appreciative to call you friends, because that's the biggest blessing in my life is my peer group. You know, I have my amazing family, but it's just amazing to be able to collaborate with you both and just to have fun like this. And we're not saying anything that's earth-shattering. We're not sharing anything that is uniquely ours. It's a culmination of life experience, and thank you for allowing the forum where we can continue to contribute with each other. Because I've taken so much away from this today, I can't even begin to tell you. So thank you.
I can only echo that. Thank you, Sergio. Thank you, Chuck. It's such a blessing to do this. And you know, Sergio, if leading up to GYLS 2016, you're kind of running out of people who want to do this, then I'm sure wherever Chuck and I are, you know, maybe there's a part 3 and 4 coming your way.
Part 3 and 4 100% is coming. We definitely got to make that happen. 2 hours wasn't enough.
So I'll just, you know, if I can, we'll pick 12 people to send this book to. We'll just pick it at random. But you know, as soon as you're done, Sergio, we never leave the room without having some form of music. So as soon as you're done, just tell me. I'm gonna play a tune that we play out to.
Perfect. So just some final wrap-up notes. Thank you guys both, Chuck and Mehul, so much for running this session. I just want to honor you guys. Chuck waking up at 3 in the morning to run this session at 5. Mehul taking time out of his busy day. This was definitely the best session by far. You guys dropped so many gems in the first half an hour. You dropped such unbelievable knowledge, and we went for 2 solid hours. Thank you guys who are still here for sticking through the technical difficulties. I think there was just so much knowledge that it just glitched the system. Google couldn't even handle it. The next session I think is in 3 weeks. I'm actually going to be in Florida at Day with Destiny a couple days before, and it's going to be Rachel Bell, one of our esteemed youth coaches.
Nice.
So get ready for that. That's going to be unbelievable. And I have a comment from Deb saying that Dylan's on her way to her game, so let's give her some motivation. So good luck on your game. I think we definitely broke over 100 comments. So we broke records for length, for knowledge and for time. So this was an unbelievable session. So we'll wrap it up with Mehul, your song.
Okay, thanks guys. Love you guys.
Man, that just felt like it was GYLS again.
I know.
In the middle of November.
Okay, thanks guys. Love you.
Take care, everyone. Much love.